Frankie LV. A wrong step by a leader is a warning to the followers. Our liberator is here. They want to go all the way.
Iron Lady Records, sweet sound.
Lima guaya ume bongo, bongo, bongo. La biama ya ubone, bongo, 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 bongo. Dey wa ya, abola bia se ne ye wa boya. Lo va ye wa bola. Papa dia wa gongo mbonu ile. You know wa ya, me go ni mai ne wa wa tere. Laba lo gbo yi. Ni wa lo wa gbo yi. Apo ma won da me wa lo wa gbo yi. Tade pa. No jeme. Okay, movement. Corruption la yen pona. Me wo kwa wa iba wo ne ara wo. Ira ye wa wo. Ampo ni ma no se ga ye wa so. Prende ye pona pone. Kanu guga wo re. Kanu guga wa gan mo lo mu e. Won pa ya kwa. Eti awa kwa gbogbo ya kwa. Kanu wo pa ka e. Kani amoyi ma. Go. Rakira ye wa wa dero. Ogo rano wo mo bora. Labia no yi wa wa. Apotia wa gongo mo nu ile baba. Labia se ne wa wa ya. Ya ble ya potita.
Something zota.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this exciting edition of Between the Headlines on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In today's edition of our special broadcast, we are privileged to have an exclusive interview with the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawan Se Gongloe. We also want to welcome our viewers from across the globe and welcome to Focus on Liberia. If you are just joining us, I would say in my manner from across Nimba or from across Bosu, you say Kanu Yola. Welcome, Councillor.
Thank you. I don't think any man of your president will understand you.
Right, because I come from across the border from Yokepa.
All right. Okay.
I want to welcome my co-host here.
Thank you, but let me in the beginning actually say Happy Mother's Day to all Liberian women in Liberia and across the globe, including the United States of America, and all women who are friends of Liberia, who care about Liberia. Happy Mother's Day to all of them.
Thank you, Councillor. Let me welcome my co-host, Mr. Anthony Munanabusie. Anthony Sie, Mr. Sie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. It's
again another proud moment to be sharing the platform with you as we have this conversation. One of the greatest sons of Liberia, Councillor Tiawon Gongloe. Tiawon, I see that you just gave Dennis D.
Yeah, but he didn't make it. I can say Friday. I
Yeah.
can say Zonzien. I can say Taro for the Crown people.
Right.
I can go and say Naweo for the Sea Sal Gribble.
Yeah.
I can say Tato for the Bush Gribble.
Right. Well, I will give
I can say Eurofile.
but I will give my partner Dennis the credit for making the effort to try to speak one of our local languages. Dennis, thanks for the effort, brother.
Right. You see, I speak a little bit of man, but it's across the river. You know, the colonial powers drew the line, but we still know that we have our Pella friends in Bamakama and that area.
Right.
That's Lofa. You know, if we go across the border from Lokatuo, we still see they call them Yakuba, but that's the same us. If you go across the Kavala, you see the Gribbles on both sides. So. Well, so that's why my manner is a little different. All right. We want to welcome our viewers from across the globe, and we say happy Mother's Day on this Mother's Day Sunday. We are glad to be part of it, and to all our mothers, both those who have passed, our wives, our friends, and all females of Liberia, we say happy Mother's Day. Councillor, welcome to the United States. You are recently here. And you are here again. Welcome. As the campaign extended on this side?
Thank you. You just talk about the diaspora. We talk about Liberia and Liberians. Liberia is across the globe in Africa, but Liberians are everywhere. And a bulk of them are in the United States of America. I understand there are over 500,000 here. It is a population of Liberians that cannot be ignored.
All right. Let's start this entire interview with your vice presidential pick. How long should Liberians wait to see you pick a running mate? We understand you were talking to Yombly, and that didn't work out very well. So what's the next move, and how soon should we expect to hear from you on who's running with you on the LPP ticket?
We are going to give out the name of our vice president before the statutory period provided by the elections law. We act within the scope of the law. We have a team. They work on the criteria. They are vetting people. We don't intend to give name of anyone who is being vetted, but I can tell you that pretty soon we'll give the name of our running mate. We cannot run without having a running mate. But before we go further, if you have the music or the people lie to us, the fool us, Batakun Jimmy, I would like for you to play it because it sets the tune for what I want to say today.
All right. And before we get to that, and I mentioned that you were talking to Madam Yombly Kanga Lawrence. What is your criterion? So looking at Yombly tells us a little bit, but what's your criteria in picking that vice president? What are you looking at?
Well, we're looking at issue of integrity, issue of love of country, issue of track record on doing what is good for Liberia, competence in administration, commitment to country, love of country, attitude towards work, all those things. And the person's values should not be far away from mine, because when the president and vice president disagree, that is a source of crisis for any administration. So,
and Councillor, are you confirming that there was conversation between your team and Yombly, and if it is true
yes, there was conversation. We don't need to go far.
Okay.
There was conversation.
And you have a criteria from what you just stated. Why things did not materialize? Is it because she did not fit those did the criteria set forth, or was there any other reason?
No, I think it's a question about choice.
Okay.
And we respect our choice. People, in the electoral process, just as we speak to voters and explain our platform, present ourselves to them, talk about our track record, they have a choice to make. And we must respect people's choices.
In other words, you humbly turned that down. Turn down your offer.
Oh, yes. And we respect our view on that.
Wow. So we heard about charters. And in fact, at some point, you mentioned that you were not approached by Alobwaka or Cummings. And we are just curious here. Why you felt the need to state that at the time to the Liberian people?
Oh, because the question was asked.
Okay.
Yeah, and I gave a direct answer. Were you approached by Cummings or Bwaka? And I said no. And the thing is, I got in a race not to be approached to be vice president, but people who were asking questions were interested in it. Running for the presidency, you are running based on the wishes and aspirations, the way you see what you consider to be the wishes and aspirations of the people. So their views matter. There were some people who felt that Bwaka and Cummings should form one ticket. There were some people who felt Gongloe and Bwaka should form one ticket. There were some people who felt Gongloe and Cummings should form one ticket. That were their views. And when they asked me about it and said, have you been approached? They presume, I don't think the presumption was that I got in the race to be known, to be approached to be vice president. But that was their thinking. And they asked a direct question, have you been approached? And I said, no. Not that that's what I wanted.
Okay, and Councillor, the last time we have representative of your team here, and the Secretary General, Junior Zoga, mentioned to us the LPP position for picking a vice presidential running mate for you will be female. Is that something you are settled on, that it must be a woman on that ticket? And if that's a yes, why so?
Well, let me say preferentially yes. All right? We must be promoting, when we say gender equality, when we talk about gender balancing, mainstreaming gender, they must not be just mere words. They must be expressed. And what else is better than having the females represented at the top level of governance? So yes, we have that preference. But it doesn't mean that if a female does not fit the criteria or does not agree, that we cannot pick someone. We have to have a vice presidential running mate. But we cannot walk away from our female preference, especially after we had approached Honorable Yomli Kanga. So yes, we're in our 10-point agenda for Better Liberia, we have even said that, look, we have a situation where we will have 20 member cabinet, 10 of them will be female. That will be 50% female appointment in government. So if we can say that, then the question of having a female vice president is consistent with that objective.
And when did Yombly come in the picture? Were you already vetting her, or it was because of the fallout from the Bwaka selection?
Well, I don't want us to dwell on that at this point, because you see, that's all behind us now. And that's not the kind of history we want to deal with. So really, I choose not to dwell into why not in Yombly, because that's already past.
Right, but that gives us, a kind of picture, a window into your thinking towards picking a running mate and how you're going to govern the country if, when given the opportunity to do so.
Well, I think she's fit. I mean, just as the Basel Board have elected her twice, she's one of the persons who, people were talking about her for a long time. many persons were mentioned. I mean, normally cannot be ignored in the political discussions in Liberia. For someone, a female who had won twice and was the only female in the Senate until recently when Bodo Kane was elected. So she enjoys a special place in the political arena, and anyone would be naive if you ignore Nyong'li.
And the fact that many people were saying you should be on the walkout ticket, some said communist ticket, and then you were never approached by any of these. What does that say about them or you? Are they trying to run away from you, or for whatever reason?
Well, I don't want to speculate about the reasons for not suggesting that, because they could also speculate. So I don't want us to go on speculation why they didn't. I respect their choices, the choices that they made, and we should not follow them on that. Why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do that? The Liberian people have a choice to make on election day based on the ticket that we present. And that for us is our focus. We tell the Liberian people our program, what we intend to do. They know our track record in public service and in the civil society. They know our views are not hidden, and they will make their choices.
And Councillor, we started this show with a song. And the little interpretation I got is, Papa Gongloe, come and save us. The people in Nimba, the people in Granji, the Sino, everywhere, they are suffering. Come and save us. You have gone to nearly every county now, and you have visited more villages than any other presidential candidate or aspirant that I know. Your campaign, I'm shouldn't use the word campaign.
Outreach.
Yeah, your outreach has been about the issue that got Liberia where it is. And that's the message you have been taking to the people, and that they should choose you. The politics, usually the people don't decide on the issue. Do you see it that way? Have Liberian people been deciding on the issue because you are making a campaign about the issue? Where has issue decided the presidency for which you are making it about the issue?
The most recent one. Mm-hmm. Well, let me answer. Issue. If you present the issues very well, Liberian people do listen to you. Okay. One clear example is the case of Senator Darius Dillon. Okay. 2 times Senator Darius Dillon won in Monrovia on the issues. On his on different radio stations and in several presentations. On his podcast, mm-hmm. He presented the issues. He was very awkward with the issues of bad governance and the suffering of the Liberian people, and they listened to him, okay. And they voted for him twice. I always say that the vote for Darius Dillon was actually a vote against President George Weah, because President George Weah went on record and said the Darius Dillon cannot beat CDC in Montserrat County. This is our territory. And the people 2 times proved him wrong.
So I agree with you that the people have decided on the issues. In some instances, or at some point, Darius Dillon being a case in point. This is the issue you have been taking to the people because you know that should be the deciding thing about the election. We are yet to see how the issue is propelling you to translating, and bringing you to the people. Why is that taking that long? At least that's what I see. You can convince me. You've gone to the villages. I have not gone there.
Why is what taking long for the people to accept me or what?
So my what I see is that the issue you are talking about with the people, I'm not sure that is bringing you closer to the people. I
think you are reading it wrongly.
And
because you see, okay, go ahead.
No, I wanted to say, yeah, that's my reading. So tell me, what is your reading?
Yeah, you are reading it wrongly because you are sitting very far away. Although I know that you monitor all of the social media, the radio stations, you monitor the newspapers, but I think I can pat myself on the back a little bit because I am the newest in the whole game of the. And then now, when they mention presidential aspirants, they mention my name among the top 4. Even when they mention 3, some people mention my name among the top 3. Just a few days ago, there was a survey done in southeastern Liberia, and someone was saying in Grand Jida, the only 2 names we hear in Grand Jida here in southeastern Liberia are Councillor Gongloe and Wea. So that gives me a good impression of what we've done, that we are succeeding with the Liberian people. And there's no other way than to go to the people, and my strategy of actually going to the people is working. And the people feel so respected, that you leave the main road and go to the villages, the Babla town, for example, of the main road in Grand Jida, or Duake, of the main road. I think Dennis will understand that Duake is off Gbepo Kanwiyeken. It's a small town, maybe 5 minutes drive away from Gbepo Kanwiyeken. Or Jakaken, the home of Jerry William, or even in Grand Cru, Bois Jiken. You get there and people say, oh, that our first time seeing how a presidential aspirant look. We've never seen a presidential aspirant in our life. Thank you for coming here, yeah. And then I tell them my message. The 4 key things. After I talk about rule of law and fighting corruption, I talk about the health situation and how pregnant women children under the age of 5, and people 65 years or up will get free medical treatment in government hospitals and clinics, and how, as president, I will be paying surprise visits to government hospitals and clinics for medical checkup and treatment, and how, on the basis of that, I will work so hard to raise the standard of the medical treatment in the public clinics and hospitals, and I'll make them higher than private hospitals and clinics. So, and then I talk about children going to school from kindergarten to 12th grade, eliminating illiteracy in 2 years, and tell them how to do it, and how we'll open free trade schools in the 15 counties, how we'll mechanize rice farming to have enough rice in Liberia so that the price of rice can go down and be available, how we will rehabilitate the roads and maintain them. Most of the things I say are not based on hard thinking. I grew up in the interior. I also live in Monrovia. I understand everything I'm saying. I think that people know. Man, Jim Dennis was telling me the other day, 93-year-old man is the older brother of the late Sister Dennis, the first president of the PUL. He said to me, Councillor Gongloe, I listen to you. The things you say are correct. They are straightforward, and the solution you are giving are simple. Why nobody has seen this? Everywhere I've gone in Liberia, they have told me, we have never heard what you are saying for any presidential aspirant or candidate. But that because, I live through these situations. When I talk about having Polywood yard, because I live in Tapeta, and someone Polywood yard in Tapeta, where there were yellow machines and they used to rehabilitate the roads during dry season. And I saw it in total, I saw it in other. That's not something that I'm not creating anything new. I just observe growing up what worked. And that's what I'm putting to the Liberian people. They are not even things that I created. No, I don't want to give myself credit for that. I saw Honored President Turbo, children under 5 going to hospital free of charge. I saw Honored President Turbo, JFK pharmacy right there. They never said to us at JFK, oh, we give you what do you call it? A prescription to go to any clinic. JFK had a big pharmacy right there. Everything was self-contained. So that's not something I'm creating. The Agrimico came from, I think it was an Israeli project. They were clearing huge some area with machines and making it available for rice farming, and people are engaging in rice farming and help us. So all the things I'm talking, I think that I had keen observation of growing up. I just want to bring it back as a foundation for Liberia's development. And because the people, many people in the 50s and 60s are aware of some of the things I'm talking, they quickly, accept it and they start talking to people. This thing the man is talking used to happen. When happen while you're in Zozo or in Vonjama, for you, we never have problem, the roads are open. They know. But if you are not living in Liberia before, you are not living in the rural area, it will not come to you. It will be strange to you. But I know that these are things that work, that can work, that have worked before. And the people accept it so much. And as a teacher, everywhere I go, when I finish speaking, I say, if the things I said to you today make sense, then stand up. The whole crowd stands up, nobody sits. So they are showing that acceptance all over.
Thank you, Councillor. And I really want us to get into the issues. But before that, I'm still thinking about this running mate issue, right? Joseph Yuma Bwaka picked Jeremiah Kuhn from your county, Nimba County. Alexander Benedict Cummings is poised to pick Charlene Brownskin, a young female lawyer from Grand Bassa County. Do these picks make it difficult or easier for you? Because someone was telling me, well, with the pick of Jeremiah Kuhn from Nimba, it takes away Councillor Gongloe's leverage.
No, that person does not know Nimba people. Nimba people are very ambitious people. They've been looking for president ever since. Every time a son of Nimba runs for the presidency, he gets majority of the votes from Nimba. When Jackson F. Doe ran, he was the first son of Nimba to run. He got almost 100% of the votes from Nimba. Well, Cllr had lived in America for over 20 years. Yet when he went back to Liberia and ran in 2005, he got huge votes from Nimba, even without campaigning. The late Cllr only went to Ganta and Saniko, the area. But just by hearing his name, Cllr, Nimba voted for him. Senator Prince Johnson ran twice, and he came third place and fourth place. So that history, there's nothing that can change that. In fact, on hearing about the honorable, the surveys were conducted on Nimba, on radio stations in Nimba, and they said, do we want the tail, meaning vice president, or the head, meaning the presidency? The cow head. Do we want the cow tail or want the cow head? And almost unanimously across the county, everyone said, but at the head we're looking for. We have had the tail twice. We had Ino Dogole, we had Moses Black, and we know what we experienced. It is a head that we never had, so we are looking for the head. They are decided.
Councillor.
So there's no conflict there.
All right. Thank you, Councillor. You have always emphasized on the issue of the liberalization policy as one of the policy issues that you will enforce to bring about jobs and jumpstart the economy. I'm sure you study economics, you mention always, and you also mentioned that labor is one of the factors of production. Mm-hmm. Also, money is also the factor of production. So to jumpstart the liberalization policy, you need, I believe, a huge source of funding. What sources are you looking at or have you considered so far?
Well, this government has shown us there's money in Liberia. See, it's a question of how they use the money. This government has shown us that there's so much money, but the money is enjoyed or spent or taken by less than 1% of the population who find themselves at the higher echelon of government. Evidence number one, last year, the president pro tem of the Liberian Senate earn a total salary, an annual salary of $254,000. The President pro tem of the United States Senate earned $193,000. Now, just that example alone does not show that Liberia is a poor country, because Liberia, that looks for aid from America, presented a situation last year whereby the President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate made more than $60,000 in salary than the President pro tempore of the United States Senate. Similarly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States last year earned a total salary of $223,000. Ours earned $245,000. And that is apart from the $30,000 that they gave themselves across the board. I think you're familiar with the fact that they have something a big term called legislative engagement fund. And they use that and divide it across the board, not Senate receiving higher and Representative receiving. They say, we eat it together, $30,000 each. That per year, $3,090,000. So, and they have gotten that money twice. So that's $6,180,000 over a period of 2 years. And they put in a budget that this money cannot be accounted for, it cannot be audited. It's discretionary money. A poor country can't do that. The wastage, I call it wastage, that wastage from that goes on the politicians can be taken to be put in the health system, in the educational system, in food production, in road maintenance. I strongly believe the money is there because this government has shown us that the money is there, but it's hard to spend the money. So I'm going to have a different priority. Apart from that, I will never sign anything about $30,000, even one more dollar at discretionary fund to the lawmakers. No. The money will be spent to improve the salaries and benefits of civil servants, police officers, the law enforcement officers, so they can do their work properly, the nurses and doctors, the teachers. Do you know in your home, in I think you're from Sino or you're from South-Eastern Liberia, most of the schools I went to in South-Eastern Liberia, they say, we can get teachers, some of the schools get 3 teachers, but we got volunteer teachers. Who pay for the volunteer teachers? Oh, we don't want to find a staff who collect money in the town. When the volunteer teachers find a job or they want to go hustle somewhere, they leave. So our educational system that is weak has even been weakened further under this government because they got there, they want to find a job for seditious. So they quickly pension a lot of people in the system. That is affecting the police too. The most experienced people were pensioned, the teachers, the nurses, everywhere. And they didn't replace those people. So we have that vacuum, and it's hurting our educational system. It's hurting the health system. It's hurting the law enforcement, everything. So I will have different priorities. My priority will be spending on the money for the benefit of the people. That is to the civil servants that do the work, to the nurses, to the teachers, to law enforcement officers, and then spending it to get drugs in the hospitals and clinics, to get educational materials. Some of the schools don't have chalks. You wouldn't believe it. Oh my God. In this day, some people using dipper, to go right. Can you believe it? It's a reality.
Councillor, I want to follow up on the sources of funding. Should you be elected to fund the Liberian government of all the programs that you have in mind? There's the general agreement that the diaspora can be another source of funding or revenue, for the Liberian government. My question is, how do you intend to tap into the diaspora population of Liberia to raise significant revenue and not only rely on remittances from those Liberians outside of Liberia as a way of bringing money to Liberia?
But I've said repeatedly that I will be the president that will create millionaires outside government. And which means my policy will be to support Liberian businesses and who are better qualified, better situated, better capacitated to benefit from that kind of policy. Liberians abroad, especially in the United States, a lot of Liberians here have even businesses in the United States, and they can extend their businesses to Liberia. The young man in Philadelphia, for example, who has that water side store in Philadelphia. What if he opens a big store in Liberia, and we are trying to buy maybe school feeding material? I mean, we're trying to buy food. We're trying to buy copybooks. We're trying to buy pens and pencils for students. The procurement will be done from people like that. You know, so Liberians, we will make Liberians feel proud of their country. This is not a matter of choice. It's an obligation of the government to give priority to citizens, to give preference to them. It happens here in America. It happens in Nigeria. It happens in Ghana. It happens in Kenya. It happens in Botswana, Rwanda, everywhere. We should do it. Government is the biggest consumer of goods and services in every country. So when we're buying goods, we should buy from Liberian businesses first. That's how we enrich them. When we are giving service contracts or construction contracts, we will not, under my administration, the thing that happened today will not happen. The Lebanese and other people get contracts, then they hire Liberians to actually carry on the contracts. And sometimes they even subcontract to Liberian companies. It should be the other way around. It should be Liberian companies getting the contracts and subcontracting to other people. And I say that beyond remittances, there are so many Liberians in America here, in Australia and other places who have the capacity to benefit from that kind of policy.
So let me follow up on that. So in a broader sense, what do you see as the role of the diaspora in Liberia affairs?
You know, there are Liberians who are qualified, who have experience in different ways. Some of them will be given opportunities to work in the government, but many of them will find it better to be in the private sector and to help create jobs. Because, you know, they live in America here. They know that in America, it is the private sector that really creates most of the jobs. And many of them will come and will give them the opportunity to participate in the different sectors.
But Councillor, what will you do specifically? What concrete step will you say? Let me give you an example. Are you going to put a tax on remittance and it's going to go to this? What policy are you going to issue to make sure that happens? How are you going to incentivize diaspora Liberians going and all those kind of things? I want some concrete stuff.
No, but what do you mean? Why should somebody put tap on remittances?
No, I'm just saying. I said tax.
People have freedom to send their money home to their relatives.
No, I'm saying tax. Say, let's say every time you send money, if you agree. So,
we are not going to do.
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
We are look. One of the things that used to happen, for example, I saw it because I work at a Freeport during Turbo time, for example, were Liberians returning home from studies were allowed to bring their personal items free of charge. I'm not sure what is happening these days. And that really made Liberians, you know, it helped them to easily move back home. All right. But like I've said, one thing, we are going to give preferential treatment to all Liberians. So Liberians coming to maybe open furniture factory in Kakata or in Vubadi or somewhere will be giving preference, will be giving tax incentive. One of my policies will be that any company that opens a value addition company outside Monrovia, every 50 miles, there'll be a reduction in taxation. You know, to the extent that if you're opening your company in Greenville or Harper or even in Boajiken, I like that the name of that town. You you will have tax, you pay lower corporate tax. But there will be any multiplier effect of that investment, because besides the fact that the people employed will be getting income and government will tax the income, they will be renting apartments and buildings from the people, and some might even buy land to build houses, which will be putting money in the local economy. And too many things will happen like that. Now, the diasporans are Liberians. They will be better situated because some have access to getting loans here. They might be able to take advantage of that and invest all over the country in tourism, in different aspects of business. We will have a diasporan office in the executive mansion, the office of the president, to deal with the specific needs of different diasporan groups. Because the ones in America might have different set of interests compared to the ones in Australia or the ones in Southeast Asia or in Europe. You know.
Thank you. Councillor, your major selling point why Liberians should pick you has been you are this corruption-free person, the integrity icon, or you're going to implement the War and Economic Crimes Code and even prosecute crimes. You know, that's just you, your personality, and who you are. But as you and I know, one person cannot run a government. What else is the reason why Liberians should pick you?
Oh, my views on bad governance in Liberia are settled. I've never been quiet on any other government.
But who are you bringing around yourself with that same mentality?
Too many people, you know, we don't have indispensability of, and even the character I have. There are many people in Liberia like that, and I'm going to bring those people on board. I think it's an insult to our country to think that Councillor Tiawan, Gongloe, or 2 or 3 persons are the only people who think the way I do. There are many. You know, one American said one time there are more good people in Liberia than bad people. You just have to look to select the good people, and we'll bring good people. But let me tell you, I know that presidency is powerful in every country, but Liberia is so severe. The power of the president in Liberia is something that the people give to the president even beyond the law. You can be a president who kills people. Liberian people will say that man good, that the people around him who are causing him to do this. So when you're a good person in Liberia, just by your action, you multiply yourself and people will follow what you do. Even President Dresser in Liberia, without making law or issue executive order, everybody can follow it. So what we need is one good president in Liberia who will set a good standard for effective governance in Liberia, and that now will become a standard for the future. And that's what I want to do. And yes, I will not be alone. I'm going to bring people in the executive branch of government. I'm going to issue executive. I have rules that if they don't abide by, I'm a lawyer. I've been prosecutor. I've been defending people as well. I know the 2 sides of the law. So in terms of upholding the law, that will not be an issue. And then no country can develop without a strong rule of law system, without commitment to enforce the law, without commitment to implement the laws in every sector. And that is what I would do. It will bring stability. It will sustain the peace. It will bring progress and prosperity to Liberia. And like these views I'm expressing, if you go back 20 years and check my view, those are the views I've had. So people know that I'm consistent, and I've been persistent on the things that I feel are good for Liberia. And I've also made sacrifices. There's not one person that has said they want to be president that has sacrificed anything for Liberia. None. I can boast of that. There's none. All of them will score 0 when it comes to sacrificing or taking risk for Liberia, sacrificing comfort. You know, some when you criticize government or when you make certain decisions, it puts you in a position not to enjoy certain opportunities, but it also brings risk to your life and safety. But I've always chosen Liberia first above everything, not considering the consequences of my action, because all I know is that the speeches I've made, the actions I've taken have been very good for Liberia. For me, that was what mattered.
Councillor, what are some things about Liberia's governance processes that you think that shouldn't be, that you will eliminate either by executive order or legislation, and how you think doing so will benefit Liberia?
You know, for example, the first one is law enforcement. Whether it's at the border, whether it's in the streets of the different cities in Liberia, that means immigration police. And when I say police, I mean DEA, or the one that enforce the law. There is selective application of the law. When there is selective application of the law, it weakens the law. When it comes to A, the law should be applied differently, or should not apply at all. When it comes to B, the law should be rigorously enforced. We can't do that. We can't have some people in the population that are exempt from law enforcement. Or as the former president said one day, I said, oh, these other people are my untouchables. We can't have untouchables in Liberia. You know, we have to enforce the law, apply the law to the letter against everyone who violates the law. In this country, where you live, when a senator commits a traffic offense, whether a speed limit or anything, he gets the same value of ticket that a janitor gets when he commits traffic offense. That is so important. That should be the foundation of transformation in Liberia.
Councillor, in our recent history, is there any history of an integrated icon winning elections, especially presidential elections? Because this is what you are pushing. So what are you looking at to say, okay, this happened before and it can happen again?
No, I'm not looking at what happened. But we're not, integrity will not be an issue.
And why do you think it's going to be
integrity will
important
not
now?
be an issue? But because it will not be an issue, does not mean we can make an issue today. And people are attracted to what I'm saying. That is why I'm coming up in the polls. Before election day, everybody will be behind me. Because what I'm saying is what a majority of the Liberian people want to hear. The minority that are today's elite don't want to hear it. I put my people in taxi to monitor, and they say, they get in the taxi or the bus, and they say, where you think about Gongloe? That man probably like to be too straight. When I Gongloe in government, when I eat smarting, people need to be eating smarting. But those who say are in minority, they're in minority. I talk to my clients, some of them are non-Liberians who listen to other Liberians. One of them just 3 days ago was telling me that, oh, the people say you make things hard, right, that you will not, you know, the kind of flexibility they have to chop, to do things, to get benefits on the side will not be there. But the good thing is that that type of governance provides services for the people. It does common good. That is what has happened in Botswana. Botswana is my example. And it will remain my example up to the time I win a run government by Botswana Star. Because the people in the safety of the people of Botswana is so well maintained, and services are good. You go to people who have been to Botswana, you go there like you're living in Europe or somewhere else. Infrastructure good, education, health, everything is good. I mean, the way they manage their system, Botswana is a landlocked country, no sea coast, which means they have to go to other countries to get goods in the country. The land itself got 70% desert. Only 10% of the land is there for agricultural purpose. How come on that 30% they are raising animals and exporting meat to Europe and Southern Africa? That is effective governance.
Right. But Councillor, my thing is...
and I think on that, I will win election in Monrovia. In fact, I keep giving you Darius Dillon as an example. Darius Dillon won election in Maserati County pushing integrity issues.
Right, because from 1997 till now, all our presidential elections have not been won based on integrity. What is going to be different 2023?
You know, One person said to me, when you want to let a deaf, dumb, and blind man know that his mother is dead, keep food for him for the whole day. In the evening, when you're hungry, you start crying, ma, ma, ma. The Liberian people have reached a point, by their decision, they have reached a point where they are deprived of every basic need. Education, they are problem. Children are not going to school. And even those who are going to school are learning nothing. You know, health services poor. They can't even get to their home. You go now and want to go to River G, you will take 2 weeks on the road. Prices of basic commodity, especially rice, keeps going up. When it is up in Monrovia, is 2 times higher in southeastern Liberia. So like deaf, dumb, and blind person, they reach a point. They now know they have to make a decision. All right, Liberia is in the ICU, in the intensive care unit, because the last time we had election, I usually say on Liberian radio stations as an example that you do not give a load to a child that he cannot carry. That is called child abuse. You put a 100-pound bag of rice on a 10-year-old boy to carry. That's child abuse. The child would drop the. Politically, the load of governing Liberia is just too heavy for the president in power. You know, he didn't prepare for this. Presidency in Liberia gave Tubbo a hard time. It gave Cllr a hard time. It gave Ellen a hard time. It gave the list a hard time. It gave everybody a hard time. You give it to someone who are not prepared for it at all. Look, even watching car, you and I now go to Newport Street in Monrovia where the young people wash cars. They give you one car to wash, it will take 3 hours. The car washer might take 30 minutes to wash that car because you got experience in doing it.
Councillor, Councillor Gongloe, streamlining government and at the same time decentralizing services, others believe might be an effective way of making the government to work for the people. How does Yaron Gongloe see it?
Everybody who works in government must have an assignment and must be monitored to make sure that they are producing. It happens in Rwanda. They have result-focused governance. At the end of the day, some people have to show what they're doing at work. But you can even have a small payroll, not bloated payroll, not bringing to. If you don't, as president, make people to perform. If you don't perform yourself, because you can only make people to perform if you perform. There's no other way to have effective leadership except by example. Liberia will not go forward. You can have small government, but if you have a weak president, the government still will not perform. So when you have small government, you bring social relatives and friends in the government. You know, even though it's a small government. So having small government by itself is not, for me, a foundation for good governance per se. It is, as a president, making sure that people perform. One good example I like to give all the time is President Talbot. You know, he got into power and he said people must go to work on time and they must perform. Work is 8 to 4 and that's it. So he used to come to work and he was living in Bensonville. I was on university campus as a student. I used to observe Talbot come to work 7:30 in the morning. He would enter the executive mansion and they say he would then go upstairs to the chapel and have devotion. 8 o'clock exactly in his office, he would plan his work for the day. 9 o'clock, he started visiting ministries. And so one of the occasions, he was at the Ministry of Education and Minister G. Flamer Sherman came to work at 10 o'clock and he just handed him his letter of dismissal. When he did that, all other ministers took cue, started going to work on time and performing. So it's not the size of government, it is what you do as president, making sure, by example, that you are a hard worker, that you are actually living consistent with the oath of office to uphold the Constitution and statute laws of Liberia, all of them which are meant for the protection of the people and providing social services for them. That are two functions of government.
Thank you. Councillor, you speak more of prosecuting corruption than dealing with the root causes. For instance, in our curriculum, we don't teach ethics, right? So we are expecting people to be corruption free, but we don't teach them how to. Here in the United States, when my little boy goes to school, they will tell you, take your turns, share your toys, say please and thank you, wait your turns and all that. But ethics is not embedded in our curriculum, even in hiring practices, employment, right? That's not a criteria. So it's better to deal with the root of these issues than waiting for corruption to happen and you prosecute.
Okay, so it's not just prosecution. It is education. It is other steps. I said, for example, there would be quarterly lifestyle audit. For example, I say the president's salary and benefit will be put on the internet, published on the internet in the leading newspapers, and will be in simple English. Why am I saying that? To put the people in a position to monitor the government, president, ministers, chief justice and justices, the speaker, and every member of the House of Representatives. Everybody's salary will be on the internet, including the salaries of the civil servants. So the Liberian people can see the disparity and then, speak to the government and say, no, you can't have this level of disparity. Or as president, when I want to deal with the salary disparity, I can easily get support of the people. And I say, no, the gap is too wide. There are some people in Liberia, and some people's salary now would take maybe 7 to 8 or 10 years for a civil servant to make 1 month's salary. That type of disparity is unacceptable. All right.
But that is curbing it. How do you prevent it? How do you prevent it?
So the question is, if you put that salary and you are, as president, you are dealing with the salary scale and reducing those kind of salaries, you have public support. There's no other way to govern effectively without public support. You get the public on your side, and it'll be easier for your policies to go through. So just by exposing the salaries of everybody on the internet is another way of combating corruption, because it will put people in a position, people like you, to name and shame. They say, oh, but I know Anthony C.A. is not making $50,000 a whole year as minister. How come in 2 months the contractor say he hired him to build a building that will cost $500,000? Where the man getting money from? He's stealing. People start talking. But at the same time, the president himself is not stealing. There's no way as president you build for the 7-story building in 8 months and expect that you can stop other people from building their own in the government. So for me, yes, you can teach ethics, but if you don't conduct yourself ethically, your teaching will go in vain. Like you tell your children now, every morning you have devotion, thou shalt not lie. Don't lie. Lying is not good. Then you owe me $500. Come to Gongloe come here. You say, my man, I say, when you pay my money, then I just say, Gongloe come to my house at 2 o'clock after church on Sunday. Then you tell your children in the house, when anybody come here today, you're telling them I'm going to Kakata. Somebody died from me in Kakata. Do you expect that even though your children got A every day, even you teach them all that thing, you give them test, the part they all got A, they agree with you that to lie is not good. That one day after you tell them that, they will ever believe you that to lie is not good. So actions speak louder than words.
And Councillor, you are correct, right? But what I'm saying is, how do we teach our children from age 0 to, because we are waiting when they are ministered before we punish them. But how do we teach them that stealing is wrong from the very beginning?
I am telling you, everywhere you went to Sunday school, that one of the things that affected all over Liberia. The children go to Sunday school, they learn all that thing. Lying is not good. Do this, take your time. But they learn all that. If they see that you have VIPs, you have people who don't follow the rule because you know who I am, and they grew up and seeing that, they will do it. Just like in Monrovia, when people start taking the other line, they say that telling when they come with the siren, you see taxi jumping behind them and going too. So the question is, you can teach for everything. but you must uphold the rules. Somebody must enforce the rules. Rules are not self-executing. It takes some time for people to get that point. In Denmark and some Scandinavian countries are here, you leave your wallet here, you go for 2 days, you come back, the wallet will be in that same place. It took a long time for them to reach that point, and government was part of it.
Councillor Gongloe, you were here some time back, and at some point you said that you're going to win the election, if possible, by 65%. You have been traveling, you've been talking to Liberians. Do you still feel the same way?
I do. I even feel better than before, because when I was saying that, I had not gone all over. But the rate at which people are coming to my party now gives me comfort. Really, really, really. Because people want to have a person elected in government that is clearly different from the person who rules today. And when they check, they find that they don't see much difference between, the other people. Yeah. So because of that, and this is what I hear every day. I hear, look, and that is why I feel comfortable appearing on any media platform and going to any program. There's nobody in this race who is so free, who walks the street and talk to ordinary people every day. Go anywhere. 2 presidents call me in a corner, I go there. I have nothing to hide.
Councillor, as a guy who has not been around enough, I've heard that the U.S. government, for example, is always particular about who becomes president in Liberia. You are come a little far now, and America tend to either, insert herself in Liberian politics. They are interested who becomes president. You don't have to expose anything, but has any U.S. diplomat, politician, reach out to you to express their excitement about you wanting to be president of Liberia? I'm just curious.
Not directly, but I mean, for example, okay, so there's consistency between what I say and what the U.S. government stands for in Liberia. So when the ambassador gave his press statement the other day and people were reacting, Julius Jet on OKFM said, but why are people shouting? This thing that the ambassador said, I think that Cllr Gongloe said so many times publicly and on this radio station about health condition, about the road condition, about the issue of corruption and rule of law. All these things have been said by Cllr Gongloe many times on this station, Truth FM and other stations. So it's not new, is that because the American ambassador said it? And I believe that with the consistency of what I say, what I stand for, and what the American government stands for in terms of policy, I don't think there's any problem with me becoming president of Liberia when it comes to how America feels about Liberian politicians.
And finally, before my partner Dennis can come in, you have been building a base here in the U.S. You have recognized the importance of the diaspora base. Voter registration is going on. I've seen an impressive, support base here for you. Have you seen where a good number of them have gone down to register to cast their vote?
Yes,
if that is not significant to your wish, how does that make you feel now?
No, but why you come in? Why you already drew conclusion that it's not significant to my wish? It is significant. I've seen a lot of people come.
I said if, Councillor. I said if that is not significant enough. Go ahead.
Oh, it is significant.
Okay.
So, and many people have come. Even Dr. Sankpan, who lives with you there in Minnesota, was in Liberia recently, only to register to vote.
But how did you, because that's just individuals going. What effort was done? You being
no, I didn't. I don't have money. I didn't.
No, Councillor. Hold on, Councillor. I'm talking about out of country voting. Dual citizenship is law now, and it is illegal because the Constitution provides for it. So there is no excuse we can't be begging people to say yes, respect our rights to vote. I understand even ambassadors and those in the diplomatic field, there's nothing put in place for them to vote while they are serving in their respective or on their respective assignments. As a lawyer, what are you doing in that regard?
Look, we have to, right now, it is the right of everyone to vote, but currently the government complains of logistical capacity to even run the election based on the plan that it has. To the extent that Elections Commission has been complaining.
Is that a legitimate excuse, Councillor? Let me interrupt you a little bit. You think that's a legitimate excuse? This is law we're talking about.
Yeah, but the reality is, look, for example, the census should have been done long time to redemarcate constituency. It didn't happen. If we insist that, oh, everything has been done that the government has derelicted on doing, we might go to a point where the election may not be able to be conducted this year. Then we have interim government. And I don't want a situation of interim government.
But so we can't break the law because the government doesn't have the capacity.
Well, you know, one legal expert said one time, don't make a law that you can enforce. You know, it can undermine the effectiveness of a law. Yeah, it's in the Constitution that there should be absentee ballot.
Right.
Absentee ballot is provided for. But you know, absentee ballot means you are registered in a constituency. By the time of voting, you're not there. Whichever way, you have to be registered, you know, and unless they make the Liberian embassy in America or in all of the countries an area to register to vote, which is one of the things that could happen, you know, if you're not registered, you can't vote.
Right, but
most Americans are registered here. They come to Liberia to work. Some of them are professors at university. On election day, their ballots are sent to them.
Right.
They vote and they send it back because they are registered and they are voting in different constituencies here. Because part of the thing, you vote in a constituency because you vote for a representative, you vote for a senator in a particular constituency. It's only for presidency that you can vote anywhere. You gotta be registered.
But even within the
that hasn't happened yet.
Even within the country, we are now enforcing that. Take for instance, a policeman who goes with the team in Sino cannot vote, right? Because they are not in their constituency where they register. If for any reason you are working in River G or you register in Lofa on election day, if you are not at the place you register, you can't vote. You know, why can't there be mail-in ballots? All these things are provided for under our constitution. And you are saying
Dennis, Dennis, you know, I don't want to waste my time with that because, again, these are things that within the time provided cannot be worked on. When I'm president, these are the issues that we'll deal with to make sure that people have their rights to vote are respected. The logistics are put in place to get things done because I want to govern by rule of law and respect for human rights. I can't do anything about that now.
And Councillor, these justification or excuses on the basis of reality will not be made by you when you are prepared to make them now, right?
They will not be made by me because I will have no excuse. As a lawyer, as a human rights advocate that I've been speaking about people's rights, I will not have an excuse to deny people their rights to vote.
Because, Councillor, this is very important for me, right? Because we can say, let's contest in the corrupt system. Let's agree, let's ignore the rules or the laws that have been broken and still contest. And then when we don't win, then we say, oh, they cheat us, right? Because if these things are not corrected and we go into elections, definitely the people in government are deciding everything and we are giving them this, cutting them the slack because we say, well, they can't do it. It's not an option. But let's leave that. You say you're not going to waste your time.
But that's an opinion expressed, is well respected. We can proceed with it.
All right. So my last question before we bring in our callers, and callers, if you want to join the line, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Elections of time after time now since 2005 have been going to the second round. We have three major persons in the opposition. That's Joseph Boakai, Alexander Cummings, and Tiawan Gongloe. For any reason this go to second round, are you willing to endorse any candidate just in case you are not fortunate to be in the second round?
I will leave that probability to when we reach that point, I will make a proper decision.
Because that really caused Mr. Cummings and Councillor Bromskin the last time. They never endorsed anyone. And so are you still not thinking about that?
How did it cause them?
People, because they never endorsed anyone, right? And so that was, people keep criticizing them for that. What are you going to do?
But I'm not indecisive. I'll make a decision that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are in an exclusive interview with presidential aspirant Tiawan Gongloe. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we open our phone lines for calls.
All right, folks, on that note, we are back with you. We will be going to comments, and also we will be going to the phone lines. The numbers on the screen, 605-313-6004. Don't forget to enter the code 791-403#. And Dennis, I have my final question here, if I may. Councillor, if Tiawan Gongloe will now win the presidency, what would be that thing that costs him? And if he will win the presidency, what would be that one thing that would make him to pull through?
So the one thing that would make me to win the presidency is my track record and the fact that I respect Liberians so much that I've gone all over the country. There's no history that any presidential contender has gone to even 50 towns. I've gone to over 300 towns across the country. I'm still going. And that exposure and that respect for the people of Liberia will make them. And then my message that would change Liberia's direction, because I've told them I'm not looking for a job. I want to be a project manager to change Liberia's story for the better. And that is resonating with the people. Then they look at my track record of sacrifice. Some people can't even show, besides, there are contenders in this race, that besides President George Weah have never criticized any other president in their life. And it makes it look like either when you present that picture, it just looks like you hate George Weah. They've never criticized any other president. They were adults when the other people were president. Are they saying that all the other presidents were perfect? That makes me different from these people.
You're talking about Mr. Boakai?
I'm not calling him. I'm just saying nobody besides me who is running for presidency today has criticized any other president besides George Weah. Go and check it.
Let's get a few comments here before we bring in our callers. We got callers lined up. Mr. Sear, let's get some comments.
You didn't play. You didn't play my record.
So the comments quickly.
You didn't play my record.
You requested a song to be played, right?
Yeah, the people fool us. They lie to us. You didn't play it. Maybe you don't have it.
No, we have it. But go ahead, Mr.
All right. This comment from Dave Jai, who I know for a fact is supporting you. Councillor, it appears like you have affinity to the southeast of Liberia. Are you considering picking your VP from the southeast, and I think Dave has interest in you picking him too, if I don't mind. Maybe. So that's a question there. This one from Jerome Goodman. I think Mr. Ja is talking about the other branches of government in particular. Dennis, you can help and participate in read the comments. Let me go with this one. Those criminals who have been destroying Liberia for the past 12 years and up to now are regrouping, calling themselves and telling the Liberian people that they are the rescue mission. Who are they going to be rescuing? That person is ending with a question there. Dennis?
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber. Stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. Y'all gotta whip us some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with their speech.
Councillor, that music was made during the presidency of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. This is the government you were part of. They say the people lied to us. What sayest thou?
Well, and I resigned in the 5th year of the government. That's how I show that I was not happy with what was happening. I resigned in the 5th year. And what was saying in that record is also applicable to this government.
He lied to us. All right, let's take our first caller here. The first caller here is Mr. Elvis Morris. Mr. Morris, you are live.
Thank you, Mr. Ja, and thank you, Mr. Fier, and a special warm welcome to you, Councillor Gongloe. I have a question for you. You know, I want to know, what are you looking for in your vice presidential pick? What do you think are some of the things, or perhaps one thing that you lack that a vice presidential pick can add to you? And I'll just put this out there. You know, you're my second choice in this race. In case President Weah can't be our president for a second term, you'll be my first choice. But secondly, I want to know, in case you don't win this presidency this time around, are you looking at maybe running for senator, you know, so we can get a sample size of what you're capable of in terms of being an elected official? Thank you so much for being on the platform. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking my call, Mr. John.
Thank you. Councillor, write that down. Let me take the second caller here. That's Darling Warwood. Darling, you're live.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you to the councillor in the studio. Councillor, the issue is that you are a very fine man, a stiff man. But the problem with our country today is that our people are addicted to criminals and murderers. The fact that you never been a mass murderer, you never stole money from government, it's a little bit making it a little difficult for people to kind of for your message to resonate with people. Because our people, like, most of our population right now, you can say from that census that they're around the age of 25 to 30, the voting population. And a lot of those people, all they have known through all their life is living with mass murderers and thieves. And that's why you see they always gravitate to what. Just look at McGill campaign right now. McGill is campaigning to become senator of Miami County. Look at the crowd that young men can pull. Why? Because this is the kind of life they are used to seeing. This is what they are used to living. And so that's why your campaign is struggling a little bit, because you're letting carry out massacre somewhere. You have done looting for public funds. So I really pity your situation, and I wish we could just perform some surgery on Liberian brains so we can begin to think that normal people. I really don't have a question for you. I wish you well, and I hope, like I said, most times I talk to my friend, I said, this is our own Jerry Rollins. God is not going to come from heaven to tell that this is our Jerry Rollins. Councilor Gongloe is our Jerry Rollins. If we don't accept it and where we're in now, I don't know when that will happen. Maybe not in our generation, maybe not in our children's generation. So I wish you well, and anything I live in Springfield, Massachusetts. And you haven't come this way since you've been coming to the U.S. I hope you can make your way to this side. There's a huge Nima population here in the England area. We have organization, the Nima County Association of Worcester, Springfield, Lower, Boston, Raleigh. So I hope you can come this way to raise funds. You need money. And a few people here that they are teachers from California. So please tell your team so that you can make your way on this side, come to the England. We are here and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you, and I really pray that God can speak to our people and tell them, hey, this is your Jerry Rollins. Wake up. Poverty is not acceptable. Eating 1 meal a day is not acceptable. Living in perpetual darkness is unacceptable. Not having job and no opportunity for the youth is unacceptable. But in Liberia, our people think it's normal.
Thank you, darling.
People even eating breakfast. People blog about it. Oh, I can't eat breakfast. It's lovely. It's unfortunate. I can't say much. Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you. Let me take this caller from Canada. Your name and where you calling from exactly?
This is Sheva Jeepley. I'm calling from Alberta, Canada.
Oh, Chego, welcome. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I just wanted to commend from the Gongloe for his efforts. He sacrificed a lot for our country, and his recent trips across the country, especially the Southeast, is very touching. This is a great son of Liberia, and I have no doubt that when the elections are held this year, October, Gongloe will be the next president of our country. I just want to call people here to commend him for his efforts, for his sacrifice, and we support him, and we pray for him every day that he will be successful so he can get our country from the current destitution that our people are faced with. So thank you so much again for the show, and my congratulations and my thank you to
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. Yeah. Councillor, your response to the callers.
Well, I mean, I just want to tell those people who made complimentary comments, thank you. You know, those of us who live in Liberia, I think we do well in maintaining our sanity if we can do something about changing the conditions under which we live. Otherwise, I mean, to accept the conditions in Liberia now is taking you gradually to the level of insanity, because the things that have become normal in our country, when you come from America, you come from some places, you can just say, how can this be normal? You know, bad governance has created certain standards in our country that make all Liberians look like we are insane, you know. And maybe maybe there's some degree of mental problem that exists in Liberia, because the things that we take to be normal, it cannot be taken to be normal in many places. But that's what government has led us, and that's what I'm trying to do to see how we can change the direction of Liberia. Somebody say, "Oh, I'm the second choice. Georgia is the first choice." I know Evans. If the Evans Morris, I know he works for the company, a major company, I think that's GVL or so. I don't expect someone working for a major corporation to make me a first choice, because that could jeopardize his position. I think he's the vice president of a major company in Liberia, you know. But he asked whether
Evans lives here. Evans lives here in
what is it? What is
America. No, Evans lives in Minnesota here.
Well, that's a different Evans Morris. Okay, yes. There's a different Evans Morris in Liberia. Okay, so but he said, what do I want in a vice presidential pick? Actually, a president and vice president should have similar qualities, because a vice president is a president in waiting. So the person doesn't have to have something that you don't have. I think it's even better to have everything that you have. So, of course, two persons can be the same. But I'm going to pick someone who I believe has the competence and loves Liberia as well as has a high degree of integrity.
Councillor, let me follow up. Let me follow up on that.
Then he also asked a question whether I will run for the Senate if I don't. No, I'm not interested in running for the Senate. I'm not interested in running for the Senate. You know, serving government, you either work in the executive branch of government, the judiciary, or the legislature. I work in the executive extensively, and the job of a president is on top of the executive, actually, to execute, to implement. And that's where I have my experience. I don't have to go in the Senate. Yeah. I work in the judiciary as a lawyer, working, and, you know,
Councillor,
cases in court and all of that. So
I wanted to follow up on that running mate question. People are looking at
that's your interest today, really.
Yeah, because that's trending. People are looking at when they are looking at Nimba factor, the pellet belt, the Basel belt, and all that, right? So in such a way that our politics in picking the vice president are being somehow tribalized or based on counties. Now people complain of the Southeasterners. Now we are hearing names like Northern Alliance. In picking this vice president,
I'm not part of not. I don't. You know, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I do not subscribe to any kind of division in our country. I think people should be selected on the basis of their competence. You know, our country is so small, so I don't want this soft north or northern allowance or central allowance and all of that, because you know there are elements there that are not good for our country. For example, when you restrict decisions to regional origin, sometimes some bad people don't even have the capability. We just come because of the region they come from. But I don't think it's good for our country. Oh, this thing's terrible.
No, I'm hearing you. We're hearing you.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's good for our country. We should not elect people because they come from north, south, or central part of Liberia.
Let's say it's reality, right?
It's not any different from the warring factions. People were from this warring faction because they're from this warring faction. They made them minister of this agency, even though they do not have the education experience, and the country suffered.
Mm-hmm. So I
don't subscribe to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I said
I just follow the law. You don't have your vice president can't come from the same county, but if you are from one county and you are good, if you are from Bomi County and you are good, I will select you as my vice president. If you are from Grand Cru, even if you are from Grand Cru, and I feel you are qualified, although the current president from Grand Cru, I will still take you.
Thank you. Let's take two more callers here. The first is Mr. Setu Kawe. Mr. Kawe, go ahead. You're live, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Excellent.
Hey, how you doing, John? How you doing, Councillor Gongloe?
How are you?
I'm trying to comment on the myth of Rescue 1 and Rescue 2. I don't understand the mindset of some of our people. How can the United Popular Company in the past that had the opportunity to move this country forward, they didn't do it, and we expect them to be Rescue 1, Rescue 2. For example, the VP, former VP, Joseph Barker, his office alone took home 24 million plus United States dollars just in allocation alone, 24 million within 12 years' time. And then we are saying that this person is going to be the guy that's going to be Rescue 1. Look at his VPP, Jeremiah Coon. I don't know whether Liberian people are following, but the Transparency International local chapter, the Center for Transparency and Accountability, they came out with a release or investigation, 2 years investigation report that said Jeremiah Kuhn, then as representative, allocated $1 million to his private hospital.
Right.
You understand? $1 million.
Mr. Kawe, do you have question for the councillor, or you have, because you're talking about different ticket here.
Make a comment.
All right. So I'm just making a comment, and the fact that Jeremiah Kuhn has colleagues within 2021 budget and 2022 budget allocated $3.6 million United States dollars, with each of them taking $30,000 each for 2 years. That's equivalent to $60,000. Jeremiah Kuhn cannot be the rescue number 2. So they got famous saying this bread of the same federal front together. So that's how it is. My question to Councillor Gongloe, the issue of youth employment, we have a lot of disadvantaged youth. I know they call them Zocos. I don't like to use that terms, but as you travel all around the country, and I've been following you, I've seen that there are a lot of disadvantaged youth. What are your plans in terms of trying to rehabilitate them and make them responsible citizens? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, please hold that. Let me take one more caller. We got more caller. Lawrence, go ahead, Lawrence.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Lawrence Yan Yene. I'm calling from Waterloo, Iowa. Yeah. Are you guys getting me?
Yes, go ahead quickly. You have 1 minute.
Okay. I just want to congratulate the councillor. As we say continuously, continue to be who you are. Liberian people will be blamed for their own fault. You will not be held responsible. You have unveiled yourself, and you are who you are. Nobody can, when they check among the candidates now, you are the straight man and the clean person. Nobody, they will say that man get money. But all they get to say about you. You have gone to the Liberian people all around Liberia, from village to village, asking them, how can we build this country? And they have given all their views. Something that no presidential candidate has ever done. You have done all. And you were there. What they knew that Liberian people were looking for over there, what the same old ones are getting new battles. The JMB have been there. The Jeremiah Kuhn said, hey, just I want money. He has said, my brother can't find money. Why I can't say that? Who the medicine man that will take their own money? Medicine man will produce money. The margin man will save money, but he can't take it. But he want money from outside. So you want to say he didn't want money? What they knew, even the Nimagane people, they see MGR that took them to George Weah, that nothing, no Nimagane party benefiting. And I think MGR taking them, they telling them to go for JMB. What they knew.
Thank you.
Continue to be who you are, and God will bless you for it. You are the only step forward, the only clean presidential candidate for now. I bet anybody to challenge it.
Thank you, William. Let me take Lawrence. Let me take William Rogers. You'll be our last caller. William, go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you. This is my first time, and I've been following your show. But Councillor, you seem to be a good man, like every other Liberians. First of all, you know within yourself that most of the money that goes into Liberia right now comes from those in the diaspora. You are a lawyer, an advocate. How can you say you are for Liberia and you do not want this election to be extended? You cannot have elections right now because all of the system that needs to be put in place is not in place. How can you have elections like this? What we need now as Liberians, we need an interim government that will make sure that every T is crossed and every I dotted, so that every Liberian can participate
Thank
Why
you.
is it that you saying you don't want it to happen? That is my question.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor?
You know, there's something about lesser evil. That is not all Liberians should be given access to vote, and the Constitution provides for that. I work in interim government. I've seen interim government. You know, our Constitution does not provide for interim government. We've had it. The experience has shown that the interim governments we have been the worst governments. You know, look, interim governments are inherently corrupt. How do you form interim government? Okay, so form interim government now. All the political parties in Liberia, I think there are 23 or I don't know how many. So it's all right. The only groups we have now, political parties and civil society groups. During the war, we had warring factions groups. So we form these groups, they come there. You put them in power for 1 year, 2 years to correct all that thing. During that period, they will be stealing. They'll be stealing. And your interim government don't have, they are loyal to their groups. The group that appointed the political party that put you there and when you're loyal to. You're not even loyal to the person who's the head of state. Interim government in Liberia, maybe they work well other places, but they're proven in Liberia to be the worst government. So between having election that will exclude some Liberians and having an interim government, I would choose having an election now over having an interim government. Now, Comrade Conway asked about youth empowerment. In my 10-point agenda, I have there rehabilitation of young people and giving them skills. We need to rehabilitate them and give them skills. Many of the young people who are taking drugs and addicted don't have skills, some out of frustration, no job, they get into this. So we rehabilitate them and give them basic skills as mechanics, as tailors, as ministers, and all of that. More than that, we have to stop the inflow, the heavy inflow of drugs to our country. It has been shown that some of some people in government, high level of government, are connected to the inflow of drugs in our country. We have to stop that. 2-3 years ago, John was a presidential escort car was caught at Waterside with drugs in it. We hear nothing about it, and that's an example of how drugs are coming into our country. They're coming through big shops who get exemption at the airports. They get a consignment pass. It's all due to corruption. And that's the thing we're trying to fight. So we have to effectively fight to make Liberia not a transit point of all these narcotic drugs. Because we can even rehabilitate the children, but as long as the drugs are coming, it will create more Zokos. And Conway is true, it's truly correct. Everywhere in the country, the people you call Zokos in Monterey, for every part of Liberia, we have a major problem. We have to deal with that. Our country is under attack. Yeah.
Let's get this question here from Jackie Tai. Say, what are the
last one?
What are the three most important issues that need to be tackled to reposition the nation? That's from Jackie Tai. She's the host of the Literary Hour right here on Focus.
Okay, so rule of law, number 1. Clearly combating corruption, number 2. Education, number 3. And I would say health, then rural condition, and those ones, yeah.
Then Emmanuel Jackson said about your foreign policy agenda.
Oh, these questions will never end. Look, my experience working with Amos Sawyer of the interim government taught me that ECOWAS, to make ECOWAS work, should be a focus of Liberia's foreign policy. If it were not for the countries in the sub-region, Liberia probably would have ceased to exist as a country in 1990. You know, Africa is the centerpiece of Nigerian foreign policy. For us, ECOWAS, and making the whole region work, we are part of ECOWAS. Yeah, that would be our focus and the larger African continent.
The last question here is, what are some of your concrete measures you would take in fixing our K through 12 education?
Oh, first we must have trained teachers to teach our kindergarten children. We must have educational materials. We must have textbooks. And then, of course, the children should be well fed. I have said that I will provide copybooks and pencils for the children all over the country so that no parent has an excuse not to send child to school. Even though there will be no school fees, and the children will have the textbooks and will have copybooks, the food and everything. There are some parents who would not want to send a child to school. Of course, when that happens, you have problem with the government. You could be arrested for undermining Liberia's progress because we want all our children to go to school. Like I always say in the interior, God is a just God. He did not only put brains in the heads of children whose parents got money. Maybe the children who are not going to school today are the ones that God sent to be our scientists, our inventors, our medical doctors. When they don't go to school, it is not they who suffer or their parents, it is Liberia that suffers because we have not decided to take advantage of the help that God is giving us through the brains of some of these children.
Councillor Gongloe, what is a nationalistic and profound statement made by any Liberian president that you know that you think can be a reference point for nation building?
President Talbot, he said Liberia has three major enemies: poverty, ignorance, and disease. Then he ended up by saying the worst enemy of the three, the worst enemy of Liberia among the three is ignorance. That I consider to be true, and I keep fighting on that. That's why I'm an advocate. That's why I'm always speaking out and trying to change situation. But I'm also stimulated by the statement of the late Albert Einstein, a great scientist. He said, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. And for me, I will not stand by. I will have to step in to do something about it. JFK ended up by saying, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's why I'm stepping forward today to help change the course of history in our country for Liberia to be a developed country, because we're a naturally rich country, fertile soil, and so many mineral resources under the soil. But on election day, we choose poverty by voting for incompetent people and people who don't love our country.
Thank you so much, Councillor, for spending your Sunday evening with us on this Mother Day. We really appreciate your time. At this time, we're going to be drawing down the curtains, and so we will want to get your parting comments, sir.
I want to tell the Liberian people that I volunteer for them to give me an assignment to change the bad story in Liberia for a better story, because I strongly believe that Liberia can be better than it is today. A better Liberia is possible. I want our country to be truly a sweet land of liberty for all Liberians, not for the less than 1% that is enjoying it today, so that Liberia will be such that no Liberian want to depart from Liberia because it's so sweet you don't want to leave from it, and all Liberians abroad will be running back to Liberia. I know it. I lived here in 1990. There were so many South Africans everywhere. Today, I don't find the South Africans here. There are very few here. Some of them are professors here, but the South African refugees that are here, Liberian, South Africans that were in diaspora, some of them took American citizenship. But with a functioning South Africa, all of them have gone home. It is not a perfect country, but it is making progress. And South Africans are proud to be South Africans. They have all gone home. And I strongly believe the same thing can happen to Liberia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Cllr, you can close us.
On that note, folks, this is how we'll come to the end of our program Between the Headlines with Councillor Gongloe, who is running for president. You heard from him. The choice is yours as a people from the country Liberia to decide your fate. He has said all he needed to say. And so, folks, the decision is yours. Councillor, again, thank you for always making yourself available for our questions and also speaking to the Liberian people. Thank you for coming. We wish you well. That is how we will come to the end of this show with our song, We Are All Liberians. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.
Good night.
We are